Hello today. So here I run in a virtual machine Debian testing, currently forky, and you see here I'm on Plasma, Plasma 636, and here you see suites, my Debian sources, forky, unstable, experimental. I want to show you how to install an experimental kernel. 6.17 is coming in. So I want to show you this. Sudo nano. Let's check etc apt sources list.d Debian sources. And here you see forky, unstable, and experimental. I inserted in the sources list. Here's a specific mirror. That's fine. Normally I have to sudo apt update alias apt up. Here you see that's my alias apt up. Let's update the sources lists. Normally all have been fine. Just to show you, packages are available. I show you another alias uplist upgradable, so I work faster with this then I see all the upgradable packages. I don't upgrade them now because I have running unattended, you know, system, because unattended upgrades is running in the background. It's normally upgrading per default, so it's just some insights of the system. And I also can show you apt 10 periodic. Here you see update package lists every day, download upgradable packages also enabled, and auto clean level is 7, but as this is important for the manual installed packages and so on, per default upgrades when they are installed with unattended upgrades are deleted out of the cache afterwards. And also what I noticed is in Debian testing a new change is coming in. They are developing the apt package manager, and I noticed that if you install something with apt or upgrade manually, the new thing is that also there is the packages that are upgraded are getting deleted out of the cache afterwards. So it's very clean, more clean. I like this because if you want to get the packages, you also can use the apt option --download -only, and this I did with experimental kernel, for example. So I have this package in in a tar archive. Also this file is important for unattended upgrades, 20 auto upgrades, update package list 1, unattended upgrades enabled. And then the main configuration file for unattended upgrades is this one, and there important is here, just check these lines, and here you see I use this line only in this case, and this means origin Debian, codename distro codename, label Debian. In this case, he is using forky because I have forky in the sources, and I checked this out. He is using forky in the unattended upgrades, and if I change to SID unstable mainly, I had to insert specifically here the code name SID or unstable. Here's the explanation of the short names. So codename is a specific code name, and A would be the archive or suite, and this would be the other naming option, stable, unstable, testing, for example. So, but if you're interested more on this, I have on my channel a specific video where I explain in detail the unattended upgrades. Just to show you, I run Debian testing forky with unattended upgrades also, so I let them run in the background and I do long-term tests on this. And in this case, very specific case, I run forky with unstable and experimental in the sources, and we check the apt policies. Alias apt pol is also an alias that I use. Apt pol showing me the policy, the apt pinning. Yeah, also if you're interested in this, I have a video on my channel about apt pinning where I explain it very detailed. And here we see the apt pinning number. 100 is the current state, 500 is the default number, and it's up to 1000. Yeah, and all. So here you see 90. I set the unstable branch to 90, so this makes sure to get no package from unstable installed automatically. I have to choose it manually if I want a package. And here also interesting, we see there is one. The experimental branch is automatically pinned to 1. It's also interesting for me because I test these things to learn more on the Debian depth. And here you see forky is pretty full on 500. So I mainly run forky testing. I have also the unstable mirror and packages lists inserted, but not installed. Everything lower than 100 will never get installed per default. Look on my video about apt pinning. So, and experimental also never get installed automatically. So you have to choose it specifically if you want to test a package from the experimental branch. So let's check w3m packages.debian.org and then Linux-image-amd64. Maybe I use this one. And then here you see bullseye, bookworm backports, Trixie stable, Trixie backports. In the backports also, if you run Trixie, you have the security mirrors where you get the security updates for the kernel and so on. And then you can get a newer kernel in Trixie with Trixie backports. This is also interesting. Maybe I do a video in the future about backports specifically. And here's forky testing, and here we see 669 is currently installed, and now in SID is 6.16.12, and in experimental we have the 6.17.2. Just to show you, and this is what I want to install now. And so we updated the package lists, and we can execute apt policy for Linux dash image dash AMD64. Maybe we image, let's do it this way. Yeah, this is right. And then you see, oops, again. Then you see here installed. Then the candidate to install is 616 because this is pinned. Here we see the 3 stars or asterisks marking the installation candidate, or it is marking the currently installed maybe also. I'm not sure in this moment. Well, but here you see the 100 and varlib dpkg status shows this is a package which is currently installed. Okay, also. And also important is you see here this is a pinning number from the mirror afterwards. So this mirror, the mirror here has a pinning number 90 and here 500. Okay, this is a mirror, and then the difference is I say this again because I explained this also in the apt pinning and unattended video. After the package version number, there's also a pinning number. Okay, and this is a specific pinning number for this specific version of the package. Okay, this is from the mirror, and after the version number, this is for the specific version number of the specific package. Okay, this is important. So, and here we see 1 is the same like on the mirror for all packages. 90 is the same for the mirror, and here's also this one. And because I don't have pinned anything here, so you know, I want to show you also etc apt preferences, and here you see I have a preferences file for SID, and mainly here you see I have SID and unstable I have pinned here in this file. So, and this is because I get the 90 here in the apt policy output. Okay. Also important is when you use the apt policy standard output, here you get the specific release, O equal Debian, A equal experimental, and so on, origin this, mirror, and also this specific stuff. And this specific stuff you use in the apt pinning file, where you pin a package. Okay, just by the way, explaining this, go from my video about apt pinning. Just show this by the way, so you know the exactly background what I'm doing here, what is the system, how I configured the system, that I get this output here with the pinning numbers. So, and now per default this would never be installed, but I want to install this, and now I show you how we install the packages. You know, I have LMNT, nothing. You know, also interesting is, by the way, what I noticed is it's coming into the development branch of Debian in unstable SID and testing forky. You know, here you see I mounted external QCOW2 image disk, and interesting is normally, you know, in Debian, if you mount an external disk, it would be mounted under /media/username/ the disk name. Okay, and now interesting is here also the new change is it's not mounted on /media. It you know, see the pop-up here. you see this, it's mounting on /run media username and then the disk name. This is actually what is known in Arch Linux and maybe other Linux distributions. I think Fedora is also doing this in this way. And this is a change currently seen in the development branches from Debian. Just to notice this, by the way. So if I want to show you, you know, alias L is my alias, this one. So run, you know, I can show you media. Here this is this one, and here this is empty. So run media username. This is where it's mounted now. And here we have the disk forky up. Here I have my archives with wallpaper, but mainly with all the forky packages. And so I want to unpack forky concatenate October sudo tar -- wildcards and then -- directory. Let's target directory as / because varkage apt archives is in the archive already, the path, and then extract verbose, and this is a file for archive, and then, you know, varkage apt archives linux -image. Let's show it with double tap, and now you see the older kernel and the newer kernel. And now I use the asterisk and then the 6.17 and also asterisk deb. And then I make sure to extract only the 6.17 kernel. And now you see it's showing us he was extracting to varkage apt archives. We can slt is my alias for sudo ls lhtr, and then varkage apt archives. Currently I don't have this here, but this is also possible. Here you see that the package is unpacked in the varkage apt archives directory. And now we can install it, because I don't want it to download it again. I work on multiple virtual machines. So, and the mainly install command is sudo apt install. So mainly you do linux -image AMD64. And you know, when you see it's already the newest version. Okay, so if you want to get apt policy, now you see again the policy is this one. And if you want to install a specific package from a specific mirror that is not per default pinned to the installation candidate, you use the -t option, and then you give the specific release name or the archive name, like I showed with apt policy and like I showed in the pinning file. Okay, so here I give him specifically experimental. I can use the tab completion also, and this is a command sudo apt install -t experimental, and then we install from the experimental branch the kernel. And you see here 0 to download because I have unpacked it from the archive in the varkage apt archive branch. So let's install the 6.17 kernel. update initdrumfs is running. Let's wait a moment. And also what I notice here is it seems that the updates was running well in the background. So it's done. Now you see alias f is my alias, this one, and this gives me this output. And I have just fast fetch here, and then here I see the currently inserted branches in the Debian-Users and the disk usage and mounted. And here I see the installed kernels. And now you see 669 is the current kernel I run. And here we have 617 installed now in the boot /boot and the init images. So this is successful. Just show you, if you want to update an installed kernel image, you use sudo update -initdrumfs --help. Here you see an option. Here you can specify a kernel version, create a new initdrumfs, remove an existing initdrumfs is also possible, and the -u option is mostly what you need for some cases. And with -u you can repeat the creating the init image. The same process that we have seen a few seconds before in the installation step. Yeah? This is just manually if something is important that you have to upgrade or update the initdrumfs. So for example, if you change the Plymouth boot splash screen with sudo Plymouth -set default theme, for example here with this one, you can change the theme in the boot splash. For example, Ceratopsian is the currently theme since Debian-Trixie. Here are the older ones. You can also install the package Plymouth-themes to get more themes. This is just main release themes. And also the tree bar is a nice theme, just black with a bottom growing progress boot bar. Very nice. And if you want to change the theme, you do use the -r option and give the name, or for example tree bar. And this process also would execute the update initdrumfs, which I showed before. Just by the way, this may be interesting for some people. And also if you use sudo, nano etc default grub. Here you can change the timeout in the grub bootloader, and if you want a boot splash in Debian, important is here insert the splash. After the quiet, insert the splash, and then you get the boot splash with Plymouth. Then you enable this. Or here you can change the GFX mode, for example, mostly important if you run a virtual machine. So, and afterwards, sudo update grub would be the command to execute if you change the etc grub configurations. Just by the way, this stuff, if you're interested to make changes on your grub bootloader and boot splash theme. So we installed the kernel, then let's reboot, I would say. But also what I want is sudo apt tar, where we have the tar command. Yeah, this is this one. Let's do it this. And I want to bash You know, this can go away. I want to extract the bash aliases. I updated some stuff, and what I want to do also is what have I done? You know, here Bing wallpapers I want to extract, and not in the root directory, and also not sudo. And let's extract it here in my home folder. Stacks, builder, and Bing folder. Here we have all the Bing pictures, just to update some background wallpaper. Alias K is not found in this case, but you know, I updated the bash aliases file, and let's source it, and now alias K shows me this. It's also very, very helpful alias. This is listing lsblk, here the df output, the lsblk output, and then I can mount and unmount partitions, for example, very easy. I close this, I could unmount here, you know, but I can also do this in the terminal, sudo umount, and then /run, you know, media, and it's auto completion, and then I repeat the K alias, and now we see it's unmounted. Also, I can use the kf, is lsblk-f output, and this gives me this one. And then I see the UUID and the label, and the file system type, and also the available usage. So this is to work very fast. Also the L alias gives me this home directory output, and this is this one. Let's reboot, I would say. Sec17. You know, and here this is also the output from grub, and afterwards you will see the Plymouth boot splash. Per default in the Debian stable installation, you don't have the Plymouth boot splash. This one, this is a Ceratopsian Plymouth boot splash, this part, and you can enable it like I showed before if you don't have this. And then this is loading the Plasma desktop. Okay. And this is looking nice. If you know how to set up your Debian system, it's very, very well, and can look very nice. But sometimes I also like the default output without the Plymouth boot splash. And now here you see I changed some stuff in the bash aliases. Forky unstable experimental also, and then here you see the currently installed, currently running kernel. Here's the 6.17 installed, and running is 6.17. Also here we see. Now we have the kernel, and you know, I also changed this here, interesting. 6.17.2, and now we have the 6.17.2. I have this stuff just for eye candy. So this is what I wanted to show you, how to install the 6.17 kernel in the experimental branch. On Forky I showed the apt pinning, how to use this, look in the explain video about apt pinning, and I also showed the apt unattended upgrades. Also, I have an alias apt poll is what I showed before, and I have an apt log alias, this one. Let's execute, and then you will see, you know, this is because I run unattended upgrades in the background. Here I just list the uptime, I list the installed kernels, I list the running kernel, and then this is just the output from /var log unattended upgrades /unattended upgrades.log, you know. And here we see also the currently date. This is past mid, and then 15th. This is the currently time. And then you see this was running a few minutes before today, the unattended upgrades. Writing dpkg log to var, here you see var log unattended upgrades, and then the dpkg log. This is a very more detailed output. The standard unattended upgrades log is without the dpkg. And you see here packages that will be upgraded. So this packages was upgraded with unattended upgrades in the background before. And this is, and here you see the days before, 13, 14, and 15. So, and every 90 seconds this log is upgrading, because I just run this. Sometimes I start the virtual machine and then I just start my apt log output. This is a while loop. You see, this is the alias while do done, and every 90 seconds sleep, and then put also again out all the stuff. Because I start the machine and then I just look on the log, and I don't care about the upgrades, and I do this for long-term testing. How is Debian working exactly in the background? And also I do this in a virtual machine with the testing branch. And so I can make long-term tests about how is working Debian in detail with unattended background, unattended upgrades with the testing branch, and also included this unstable branch and the experimental in the Debian sources, but pinned, like I showed you, apt poll, pinned with this specific one. Experimental always on one, and 90 I pinned the unstable branch, unstable SID. So I run mainly forky testing. So an unattended upgrades is also only upgrading the packages from the forky testing branch, like I showed, and I had to make changes in the you know, I had to insert the a equal unstable in the, let's check this, however, etc full grub, etc apt preferences, SID preferences. You can create more files on preferences.d, for example unstable.pref, for example for specific packages, YouTube downloader, Linux image, and so on. For example, I can show you, let's cd etc prefer, no, apt or apt preferences, and then for example I could sudo copy sid, and let's copy to linux image, and then we have this file apt poll, sys linux dash image pref, no, ach so, no, linux dash image dash AMD64. This one. So here is the standard sudo apt policy output, the standard pinning of the mirrors and the exactly stuff here. And like I said, this I have to use in the preferences files. And this is what we will do in a few seconds later. And now this is the sudo apt policy output for the specific package Linux image AMD64. And just to show you, this is how it looks before. Okay. And I will apt poll Linux image AMD64. And I will pipe it into set and substitute beginning of the line. No, where is this one? Substitute the beginning of the line, and then I insert the uncomment, and then this is the output then, and then let's do also substitute one. Can I do this? I insert a line, a comment before maybe. No, I made a failure here. I don't use the substitute command here. This is a now you see with set I inserted here the comment before, and this we append with these files, but in this case it's better to do it with sudo t-a for append. Never do sudo t without this append unless you want to write a new file. Sudo t-a for append to make sure to not overwrite a file, and then we use the linux image.pref. So, and then sna is an alias for sudo nano, and then let's open the preferences file, and here we are. And you see I appended the currently policy apt policy before the changes I will make now, just to show you. Now we have sit n equals sit and a unstable. Save modified, yes, no, yes. Here you see a equal unstable is the same like n equals sit. Okay, a is the archive and n is the name. So let's head dash 22 at the apt 50 unattended upgrades. This is a file from unattended upgrades, mainly settings, and here you see the explanation also. A archive suite stable. This is the same what you see in apt policy. C is the component like main, contrib, non-free. L is label, like mainly Debian security. In Ubuntu that would mean Ubuntu, for example. Yeah. O is the origin. Here with origin you can give Yeah, okay, this is just like it is here. I wanted to say this one, but this is site. And here you see L is a label and O origin. You know, if you insert, for example, in the sources lists other stuff like Brave Browser, Libre, Wolf, and other stuff with external mirrors, external repositories, then you get another output on some stuff like this. But not today. N is a specific name like Jesse, Bookworm, Trixie, Forky, yeah, or Bullseye, and so on. The specific release names from all the Debian releases. So, and with site you can give specifically a site, for example, for Brave Browser, for Libre, Wolf, or for what else external repositories are possible. You know, for example, on my host machine, sudo nano etc apt 50 unattended upgrades, and here, for example, here we have the same stuff, and here are the lines. Here, for example, you see here what I have here is stable security, then also Trixie security, Trixie updates, and then here also Trixie backports. So you see here n equal is the name, the release name. Okay, label is, for example, Debian backports, label is Debian security, and so on. Then here you have the okay, this is just a comment. And then here you have Brave software, Brave browser, release archive. Yeah, you know, here the suite archive is in this case stable. Here's is named LibreWolf, and here is also stable. So, for example, and the label is here Thorium for Thorium browser, for example. Here's label LibreWolf, and here's label Brave browser. And you get this from the output of sudo apt policy command. Okay, and here you see, for example, site equal and the given specific site. Here you see site equal is packages element IO. Here you see site equal Thorium rocks. And LibreWolf, you know, let's do it though. Here you see for LibreWolf, site equal repo LibreWolf. Okay. Here you see it better. Okay. So, and you get the specific, what you have to insert here, you get from the output sudo apt policy. And here you see all the stuff on my host system. Here you see on my host system I have also Waydroid, Thorium rocks, Thorium browser, then the LibreWolf, and the element IO, and you know, I don't have Brave browser here. This is an interesting one. I don't have Brave browser here. No, here element IO. Here you see this is Brave browser. Okay, and here you see you get the origin Brave browser. This is what you have to insert with site equal, and then you use this specific, for example, site equal packages element IO. This you have to change manually in the unattended upgrades file. So just this, by the way, back to the virtual machine. So I don't plan that I go more into the depth of this stuff, but maybe for some people is it interesting. So let's do the changing of the apt policy, in this case for the Linux image. If I want in the future all the time install the available Linux image kernel from the experimental branch, I can pin this in my pinnings, you know, and I want to show this. Let's open. So just showed, by the way, the stuff from the unattended upgrades. But I don't recommend to put everything into the unattended upgrade file. If you run, for example, testing mainly and have also inserted the in the Debian-Users unstable and experimental, only do the unattended upgrades with only the forky branch and do the other stuff manually if you want to insert manually one package from unstable or one package from experimental. Don't do this all with unattended upgrades. So it's more safety to only upgrade in the background automatically the main branch from testing forky, for example. Or you run sit, then you do it with sit. Okay. And also, you know, if you want sudo nano, if you want to run sit, you have to use this line and outcomment this above, and then you mark this and cut it out, and then you insert here for code name, you insert sit. Or though this would be the same like sit, and sit is the same like codename sit, or you use a equal unstable, and then you would get the unattended upgrades for the unstable branch also. And then, but I don't save this in this case. And just jumping to the top, and you see here this was the difference. N is codename and A is archive suite. Okay, don't write it. And you check this sudo apt unattended sudo unattended upgrade, and you can execute sudo unattended upgrade manually. But you know, we have two commands here, unattended upgrade and unattended upgrades. Unattended upgrades, I think this is mainly the command. You can execute this manually, and afterwards you can check the log from unattended upgrades. You know, for example, but also is interesting, you can append the -d for debug, and you can do also the -- I think there was a dry run. Here you see -- dry run. -- download only is also possible with unattended upgrades. And you can execute manual upgrade steps, which is per default the execution which you can change in the etc apt-conf unattended upgrades file. But for example, you can do a dry run, and then you use -- debug or -d, then you get more verbose output of the progress of unattended upgrades. And then you would see very detailed, he lists very detailed all the repositories and sources he would upgrade. And then you can see very detailed which is upgrading and which is not upgrading. And then afterwards you can change your settings for the unattended upgrades progress. You know, apt log, I don't want to do this in this case. sudo tail dash, for example, 22, and then let's do var log unattended upgrades. Then I change this to log, just to help you. Per default, the under package archives, no, I show you ls-lhtr. This is the directory. You see here, it's only the permission is read-write for the user. This means only for root. And so this means I can't use the bash completion under the directory. And this is why I just use the bash completion to the folder, and then I change the last stuff, type log, and then var log, and then I use also again the bash completion, unattended bash completion, and then I have the specific file, because the specific bash completion for the files isn't working well with sudo. I have to log in as root in this case. And then, for example, tail -22, and then I get the last 22 lines of the unattended upgrades log. I don't have this here, but I can show some stuff. And then you see the output, for example. And also here you can see allowed origins are, and then he lists a very specific, and here you see it's only this stuff. And allowed origins are only origin Debian and codename forky, label Debians. You see SID is not listed, unstable is not listed, and experimental is never listed. You have had to give it specifically, but I don't know if unattended upgrade is working with experimental, because experimental is only very special if you want to install a specific package to test it. This is for developers, for Debian developers. So you see also in the log which specific code names, which specific releases are getting upgraded with unattended upgrades. Okay, so you know exactly what is unattended upgrades doing in the background. Yeah. And also here the detailed log is written to dpkg log. Okay, this is the files. So this is the main log file, and then you have the specific output from dpkg. I can show you dpkg. Here you see this is how the dpkg log looks. This is mainly looking when you the same like when you execute sudo apt upgrade. He lists very detailed the unpacking, preparing to unpack, unpacking, setting up, and so on. And I can use less, for example. This is the output here. Okay, this is how it looks in the log. Okay, this is just the progress bar. In the log it's looking a bit different, and then you can see this. Also, you can easily grab for specific lines. Yeah. For example, you can grab for log ended, log started. Then you see on which times it was doing this stuff. Or you can grab the log and the unpacking, for example. Yeah. For example, let's do grab dash e begin of the line log and dash e begin of the line unpack, and then pipe this into less. And then you see a different output, and you see here very specific log started. the day, you see the day and the time, 1313, and scrolling down you see 14 and 15, these other days. And then you see exactly unpacking the package and the version. You see here very detailed the version. This is the difference to the main unattended upgrade log. Here you see the packages unpacked and the version name. The old version and over this. This is the old version and the new version is unpacked over the old version. Here you see the other packages and so on. And so on and so on. For example, here FWUPD, the new version is unpacked over the older version. And so you can very detailed look which packages and which versions was upgraded. So if errors occurs, you can very detailed check out which the packages was changed and which versions, and then you can very detailed look, okay, which version was running before. And then, for example, you can set up a specific pinning package to reinstall an older version. Also, there are archives, daily archives, when you run the development branches from Debian and some package is broken. I had this case on Debian-Sid, for example, with the Falcon browser. I like the browser Falcon, and I run Debian-Sid. This was a half year before, so Trixie was in the development branch, and then was the upgrade from Falcon, and Falcon wasn't starting well afterwards. So I created a pin package with a specific version number for Falcon browser, and I pinned it to 1001. So I make sure to overwrite a lower version, the older version that was running before, and overwrite it to the newer version. So you can very specifically do this. Or you can use the sudo apt-t option to install a specific older version that was already running. For example, if the version from the SID unstable branch was upgraded with an error, you can do the report bug that the developers can fix the error. And then you just pin the package to testing, or you do the sudo apt-t install, sudo apt install -t testing or forky, and then install the package again from the specific given branch. And afterwards you execute sudo apt-mark hold the package name to make sure that it is not again upgrading the newer version from the SID branch, for example. And so you can fix broken packages. But this is only for experts. This is for Debian developers, because Debian unstable Debian testing is not the final product from Debian. It's only for experienced user, but this I explain very detailed for those that are interested to go in this specific spaces. So now let's do the thing that I wanted to do, and I wanted to change the pinning for the Linux image kernel. You see, this was the pinning before, and then afterwards I give you the output with changes we do. And you know, package Linux -image -amd64, and then let's copy this you know, here we have the asterisk for all packages. This is just pinning for a whole branch, for a whole release mirror or release archive. We delete this and we insert the Linux image AMD64. And here now the mirror is pinned to 90 with the other file sit.pref, and here I pin specifically the Linux kernel package. And now what we want to do is I have to check this later. The name, N is the name, the code name, A is the archive. Here's A is unstable, N is the name. You know, we test this. I'm not sure. You know, I let this apt poll, you know, just to remember, apt poll is the alias to make it faster. And you know, we see here A equal is experimental. So let's copy this, and you know, the N is the name, the code name would be RC buggy. So experimental is really buggy stuff. This is the newest stuff you ever can get, like I said before. Let's open the file again. And so delete this and insert this, A equal experimental. And you know, now I pin, let's do pin this to, for example, let's do the 690 for brutal rolling. I don't know. And then the A unstable we pin to 600, for example. So this would pin the experimental to 690 and the unstable to 600. Okay. So in this case, I would create the case that if a kernel in the experimental archive is existing, he would install this, else he would install the unstable package. Okay. So, and per default the 500 pinning is for the forky branch, like you see here. Yeah. Okay, here's forky, and here's the 500 pinning. Okay. So we change unstable from 90 to 600 for the kernel package, and the experimental from 1 to 690. And now write it and close. And you know, I had let's get this, you know, this is a comment I used before with the set and after change pinning. And now we append again the new output from apt policy, and we will see the changes. And now you see after change pinning, installed candidate and the installed candidate. Here you see this is a mainly pin of the mirror. 190 is the mirror pin for unstable, and 500 is the forky pin. And then let's check the package pinnings that are different. The package pinning for Linux image is 500, for forky is the same like the mirror. 600 for the specific package is different to the 90 for the mirror unstable. But the 690 we see for the package is different to the mirror pinning from experimental. So you see, per default now we pinned for Linux image AMD, we pinned this specific package only this package to 690 for the experimental, to 600 from the unstable, and to 500 from the forky. So we don't have all the time kernel images in the experimental branch. But if there is a kernel image in the experimental branch, he is installing this. And if there isn't a kernel in the experimental branch, he would install the kernel from the unstable branch, okay? And normally we never have the case that an unstable is not a kernel. So, but if it would be, he would choose the kernel from the forky. So mainly we run forky here, so we pinned this all to change only this specific package, okay? So, and now let's do apt poll, the main apt poll, and now you see also in the main apt poll, sudo apt policy output, you see the mirrors pinning, and then also appending at the end the specific pinned packages are also listed here. So, and we see Linux image AMD is pinned, and here you see the experimental package is pinned to 690, and this the 616 is from unstable branch is pinned to 600. He don't choose the default pinning from the main mirror from the main branch we are running. So just about this. So, and if I would do just the normal sudo apt update, you know, maybe we write sudo in this way. Now you see forky unstable experimental. All packages are up to date. He's not changing anything because we pinned it like we pinned it now. And so sudo apt upgrade would not change anything in this case. You know, we can also list Linux-image AMD 64, and then we append the -a for all and -v. We can do it also AV for verbose. And then you see here we have the package experimental, unstable testing, and the specific version afterwards, this one. And here's the explanation. If I do the V without the V, we get this output. So, okay, this was a bit more explaining about the stuff, but maybe it's interesting for somebody. Let's get the output again. We run now 617. We have installed the 617, and we have pinned the package. We have pinned the packages though. Again to say, after the version, you see the pinning number is for the mirror. After the version for the package, you see the pinning for the specific package to the mirror. This version unstable is pinned afterwards here, and afterwards you see 500. This is very remarkable. I have to figure that out. In the beginnings, I overlooked this and have not seen the pinning number after the version name, and I was confused that my pinning don't change anything because I only looked on the pinning number for the mirror. Okay, and then I figured out after the version here, there you have to look. So, okay. Print working directory, and LT. You see, this is my pinning files, cat sit, and then cat out this file, and then you see this is the pinning we made in the pinning file, and this is the output from before. This was before the pinning. 190 500 was before, and after the pinning we get 690 pinning for the experimental, 600 for the unstable, and 500 for forky. Just showing you. Okay, I hope this was interesting. Now we have the kernel 6.17 running. I also can give you the information center from Plasma. Here you see 636 Plasma, and the kernel is now 617. At the moment I run X11, but Wayland is also working well, I think. Maybe I changed this also. Mostly I run Wayland. Okay, I think this was interesting. Very, very long explained. Very detailed. But I hope that it was helpful. Have fun, never stop learning, and also important, read the Debian pages about all the stuff. Let's look for it. Can we find this here? Security updates. Here you get the information about the security upgrades for the main branch. Here also you get information about the unattended upgrades, automatically upgrades. Okay, this is what I explained. Go back. Here you can look on the Debian page which security updates for the main branch was coming in, on which date. And Macro News Planet. Okay, this was Planet. And then let's go to Wiki. In the Wiki, you can also look for the stuff. You see system administration, for example. Then you have, for example, package management. This one. Here you see how to install packages, package management tools, periodic updates, how to upgrade to the next release. Here is package management preseed. Also interesting backports and so on. Then we have the rollback update, switch to an earlier version, system downgrade, cross-grading, Flatpak. So here also all packages are lists. Here you have the backports, aptitude, preceding installations. Don't break Debian is also very important. Debian upgrade. Then about package kit is also interesting. I don't use this mainly. Oh, I don't have seen it yet. But here we have the preceding, for example. I have other videos about the preceding. Not important yet. A rollback update. with this is you can roll back a specific version. Here, this is what I mentioned. There are snapshot repositories. So, for example, snapshot.debian.org. Let's copy link address and insert it here. But snapshot archive Debian. Here you see archive Debian snapshots. For example, you have here 2 for this year, and then you have January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. For example, if in the October, and then you have in October 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you have for each day you have 2 o'clock, 8 o'clock, so in the night, in the morning, and the early afternoon, and then the evening. Four timestamps you have for each day. Okay, and then go down, and then we have 15, 14, 13, 12, and so on. For example, I mentioned before, if a package is broken in Debian set, you can install just the well-running package from Debian testing. This is the very easiest thing. Or you insert in your sources list a snapshot, a specific snapshot from here. For example, maybe so you have to read the changelog from the package. Then you know, okay, the change was done on this exact time. So let's just use a snapshot a day before or a few hours before, where the last change of the package was well running. And then, for example, let's click here. And then you see all the other stuff here in the pool. For example, in the pool you have the main pool, and then for the packages, for example, let's check F, and then let's search for Falcon. Here you have, for example, Falcon, and then here you have all the packages for the Falcon browser from the specific snapshot. You have here Falcon 3.1. Maybe this is experimental, or what was this, or the older one? No, this is old stuff. Here you see 2021, and then here you see the from September, this one, and here you see this is from May. Okay, so you can download manually also possible. Click on it, download, and install it manually. Manual installation is sudo apt install. Per default, apt is searching in the package lists if you type something. So if you want to install a package with apt which is downloaded in your download folder, for example, in my case, do I have the download folder here? No, you know, it's not possible to search. So if you want to install not from the lists, package lists, but from your home folder, you have to write the dot and slash and then the folder downloads, not here, stacks, not here. You know, I just make this one L downloads, not here, stacks, not here. What is blah blah blah, ls. What is going on here? this is the wrong folder where I am. We have to home then, and then downloads. There, for example, downloads. And then I have not downloaded anything, but you have to change this again. And then you dot and then the path to the file. apt is only interpreting the path you give when you insert a dot before. Okay, this is very important. And with this, you can install with apt specific downloaded packages also impossible. But you can, let's go back. Normally, how to say it, I'm not sure exactly, but maybe copy sudo nano etc apt no sources list .d Debian sources. So now let's do it this way. Snapshot, for example, let's change the mirror and we insert here. You see, I insert the exactly path from the mirror with the exactly timestamp of the mirror. Okay, and I'm not sure yet if I have to append also the Debian. I have to check this. And here we have suites. I'm not sure what I have to insert here. Maybe snapshot. I'm not sure if this would be working well. Sudo apt update, and then you see ignored and error is with the snapshot here. So I quit this and let's look on this. Here's the readme file. Copy link address, go in the terminal, and then cd let's open another terminal, wget, and then this, permission denied. Okay. cd, go on the home folder and then download, and then less readme. So here you see in the readme file, I also could open the file in a new tab and he would download, but open it in this case. Okay, now it's opening with this is also possible. Let's go here to the desktop. So this is the information about the snapshot. Okay, the current development snapshot is named SID. Okay. Okay. Okay, no. It's opening again here. I don't want this. Okay. I think let's go to the main page of snapshots, and then you see here is the usage, how to use the snapshots. Usage is, for example, archive Debian, FTP, archive Debian, man's picking, source up, Debian looked on at blah 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 blah. If you want to add a specific date's archive to your apt sources list, simply add an entry like these. Snapshot Debian. Yeah, you see. Now, important is I have to insert the release name and main. So I think I have to insert forky and main. Okay, let's check this. Sources list. So suite, here is forky and main forky, this is this one. Okay, and then again sudo apt update, let's check this, and now it seems that we don't get an error here. You see here is the snapshot mirror with a specific timestamp. Okay, forky, and this will be also interesting about the apt pinning, which default pinning is for the snapshot. All packages are up to date. So sudo apt policy, and then you see here experimental, unstable, forky, and here is the snapshot mirror. Okay, and the snapshot mirror is on 500 in this case, because there is no problem with the snapshot mirror. So I was giving the name in mirror forky because forky is on testing in this moment. I also could write in the sources list testing, or I could write SID. If I would write SID, I think the pinning would be different. SID. Now you see the snapshot is not here. Apt up again, let's update, and now you see I changed from forky testing to SID unstable, and then let's check this what it's showing. I think that the snapshot is also pinned to 19 now after this, but the packages should be the same, either forky or SID, because testing SID is just the name in this case for the snapshot. The snapshot is just a development branch in this case. Sudo apt policy, and now you see here the snapshot with SID is also pinned to 90, because the pinning is for all SID packages on all mirrors are per default pinned to 90. Not per default, but with my specific pinning case. Okay, so an interesting one is also, now we have here 6.16.11. We have here two kernels listed now, and you know why? Because Linux -image AMD. You know, here now we have listed the snapshot mirror, and in the snapshot mirror there was a 6.16.11 kernel, and the currently unstable mirror, we have the 6.16.12. Okay, so with the snapshot you can get any specific package. If you have a broken package, and you can get any other specific package from a specific timestamp. This is how you can do this and get this. In my case, I just comment this out, and it's possible to let this in your sources list if you have the case that you have to use one a day the snapshot, so you don't have to change anything, you have only to change the timestamp, search for the right timestamp and change this, and then you have all the time very fast available a snapshot archive if you want to do so. So in this case I can let it stay to sit, because I make sure that never a snapshot package is installed, but this is normally not the case, because the snapshot is older, and even the forky branch most of the time is newer, as a testing branch is newer than the snapshots. Okay, so there is not really a problem, I think. I also not sure, are there really different snapshots for testing and for unstable? That's details I don't explain or can't say. But here the archives, you have a snapshot for the archive, for the Debian archive, for the backports, for the ports, for Debian security, and for Debian volatile also. And then you have your binary packages and so on. So I think we have also the snapshots. Okay, I think this should be the exactly case. It seems that really for each Debian branch are also snapshots archives. So you have also the snapshot archive for the stable branch, for the stable backports, and the stable security, and so on. For example, let's click on Debian backports, and then you see, okay, but for Debian backports we see only 2009 to 2016 are in the archive. Debian security, you see Debian security we have here until this year everything is available. Mainly for Debian also everything is available. Okay, just show you that you can find the stuff. Okay. Also, don't break Debian. Oops. Read this page if you want more, and you are a beginner and this is all way too much, not for you, what I explained here. And also figure out the pages for running. I think there was releases. Yeah, with releases you can get an overview on the stable release, on the testing release, and on the unstable release. Here you see the Trixie release information. Then you see the forky release, the current testing branch. Important is here, you don't get security upgrades in a timely manner. This is why it's not recommended to run testing as default, but this is why I, for example, pin on Debian testing the browser to the SID branch. So I get faster the browser upgrade, like I do it with the Linux image kernel. And also you have the information for the unstable SID branch. Okay. So reading all the stuff. Here's also hence unstable does not get security updates in a timely manner, because this is for developers and experienced user. If you're not experienced, run Debian stable. This is recommended. Okay. So this was very much. This was Overlange today, but maybe it was interesting for some people. And stay tuned. Never stop learning. Have fun, and don't break Debian. And use QEMU for virtualization. It's amazing. This is just a normal QEMU program. This is a menu here in German in this case. But you can use QEMU and run virtual machines, run Debian testing or Debian SID in a virtual machine and make experiments and learn more, install the experimental kernel, write report bugs, and help to develop Debian. It's amazing. Thank you for all Debian developers, for all people that are working on this, that we get a stable release each 2 years. And stay tuned. Never stop learning.